Jack King with Apostles Anglican Church, and today I'm talking about Candlemas. What is Candlemas and why does it matter? Candlemas is a significant feast day in the Christian calendar. It's a major event in the life of Jesus. This is the moment that Joseph and Mary present Jesus in the temple in accordance with Jewish custom. And this event for Jesus becomes a moment of divine inspiration for Simeon and Anna who receive him in the temple. And when Simeon greets Jesus in the temple, by the power of the Spirit, he sees the purpose of Jesus' life, not only for Israel, but for all nations. He says that this child is the anointed one of Israel, but also that he is the light of the nations. So there's where we get the symbolism of the candle. So this is a joyous moment to celebrate in Jesus' life, but there's also a solemn sense to it. Because after Simeon sings this song of joy, he addresses Mary and says, "A sword will pierce your heart also." And he's foreshadowing, of course, the cross. And so we celebrate this event because it draws to a close the 40 days that we celebrate and observe Jesus' incarnation and the events that happen there with Christmas, with the baptism of Jesus, with the Epiphany, all these events that show that the light of Christ is rising in the world. And so it draws that season to a close and it pivots us towards Lent. Candlemas always falls on February 2nd. Churches will observe it sometimes always on that day, sometimes near to that day. That's what we'll do at Apostles. But it's always in near proximity to Ash Wednesday because we're preparing for Lent. With Simeon's solemn word to Mary, it prepares us for that future. But it's also that reminder that the light of Christ will bring salvation, even though the shadows are coming. We need to not lose the gift of this event because it's a treasure. Not only a treasure for Jesus' life, but it's a treasure and it gives shape to our lives. We observe this in the Candlemas service where the priest will bless candles and then we distribute them and give them away. And these candles are 100% beeswax. They come from a monastery in New York and they smell amazing. The service will conclude with those candles lit, and then the whole congregation will have a procession around the church that ends up at the back of the church. And that is a sign that we're on pilgrimage with Christ too, that we carry the light of Christ by the grace of the Spirit, and we're entering into a world of shadows ourselves. But we carry that light, knowing His light will prevail over the darkness. And we do so with a sense of the mission of Jesus, joining His mission. So that's what Candlemas is about. If you live in Knoxville, we'll gather at 4:30 this Sunday afternoon, February 1st, and I hope that you might join us. If you live outside of Knoxville, I hope that you might find a Candlemas service in your city or town. If you don't practice this service at your church, I hope that maybe you might plan for this next year. But however you observe Candlemas this year, I pray that we'll all celebrate the light of Christ and that we will turn with Jesus and prepare for the days ahead as He turns toward the cross. Thanks for listening and watching. Wish you a blessed weekend.